It's Friday, August 26th, and this is Now on HNN.
The more transparent this investigation is, the more likely people will not be able to cast doubt.
A judge unseals the heavily redacted affidavit behind the federal search of former President Trump's Florida residence. I'm Skyler Henry at the White House detailing what was revealed.
An OnlyFans star accused of murdering her boyfriend is transferred out of the state.
And new at noon, multiple injuries reported at a Six Flags theme park.
They have excess supply at a time where demand for the items that they're sitting on is down.
All these stories plus what's prompting many stores to slash prices. Those details coming up on This Is Now. We begin with this breaking news. Stocks stumble on Wall Street at the closing bell after the Fed says it will raise interest rates to fight inflation. Now the Dow Jones average finished down 3%. It's the worst day in 3 months. The tech-heavy NASDAQ composite shed nearly 4%. Shorter-term Treasury yields climbed as traders built up bets for the Fed to stay aggressive with those rates.
Happy Aloha Friday. Welcome to This Is Now. And Fed Chair Jerome Powell says Americans should expect interest rates to climb until inflation starts to fall. His remarks in today's talk.
The burdens of high inflation fall heaviest on those who are least able to bear them. Restoring price stability will take some time and requires using our tools forcefully to bring demand and supply into better balance. Reducing inflation is likely to require a sustained period of below-trend growth. Moreover, there will very likely be some softening of labor market conditions. While higher interest rates, slower growth, and softer labor market conditions will bring down inflation, they will also bring some pain to households and businesses. These are the unfortunate costs of reducing inflation. But a failure to restore price stability would mean far greater pain. The U.S. economy is clearly slowing from the historically high growth rates of 2021, which reflected the reopening of the economy following the pandemic recession. While the latest economic data have been mixed, in my view, our economy continues to show strong underlying momentum.
Well, new today, a federal court has unsealed that affidavit used to justify the search of former President Trump's Florida home. Much of it's redacted. Let's turn things over now to Skyler Henry with more on what we know.
The 38-page partially redacted affidavit sheds stunning details on why FBI agents searched former President Donald Trump's Florida residence earlier this month. In it, the special agent in charge said, there is probable cause to believe that the locations to be searched contain evidence, contraband, fruits of crime, or other items illegally possessed. And there is also probable cause to believe that evidence of obstruction will be found. The affidavit also lays out an FBI review found that 14 of 15 boxes of documents turned over to the National Archives back in January of this year contained classified material, stating, of most significant concern was that highly classified records were unfolded, intermixed with other records, and otherwise improperly identified. The special agent also noted he does not believe any spaces within the premises have been authorized for the storage of classified information since the end of the former president's term. Legal experts say the court ordered unsealing of the redacted affidavit during the early stages of an ongoing federal investigation are as unusual and unprecedented as the search itself.
The more transparent this investigation is, the more likely people will not be able to cast doubt or aspersion on what the motives were.
I don't know the detail. I don't even want to know. I'll let the Justice Department take care of it.
Friday, Trump lambasted the affidavit, the Justice Department, and the federal judge who signed off on the search, which he called a break-in of his home. Skyler Henry, CBS News, the White House.
All right, big national news this week with the Biden administration that it is announcing student loan debt for millions of Americans. But unfortunately, that is also opening the door for scam artists. Joining us with more on that is Roseanne Freitas with the Better Business Bureau. Roseanne, thank you very much. Always appreciate talking with you. So first off, I mean, with the announcement from the White House, how is that opening the door for scammers?
Well, scammers love to take advantage of things that appeal to us as consumers, right? So this one has really been a hot topic for a long time, as they have actually pushed off that deadline. And finally, the announcement comes out, and students who have a lot of debt are very eager to go ahead and get some of that forgiven. So they're going to be right alongside of them, trying to get the money from them, as well as personal information. So what we'll start to see is that people may start to receive messages via either email or text, but some way to reach out and say, hey, we can help you expedite that loan forgiveness, just for a small fee. So it may start there, but also remember, when you're getting your loan forgiven, you also have to have your name, your address, your birthday, and of course the big one, the Social Security number. So while losing money, you could also open yourself up to identity theft.
And you mentioned the messaging through the phone and social media, but how elaborate are the tactics? Because it does seem that we're seeing more instances of, although it's still crudely made, we are still seeing some instances where they try to make a message that it seems personalized and try to make the trap even more elaborate.
Well, scammers have gotten a whole lot better. It's not as much the bad spelling, grammar, and all of that we're used to. They are sophisticated now. They're international crime rings. And we have to remember, we also have a lot of information about ourselves out there, right? So it's easy for them to get a little bit more information about us through our social media platforms. So sometimes while you're like, oh, well, they have this information, they must know who I am. Not really. They may know just enough that makes you think that they do. So again, we have to always be careful what we're sharing online. But always remember, if you receive something, especially if it's unsolicited, they're reaching out to you, that should be a red flag. This is a government program, and you are not going to have the government reaching out to you for forgiveness. You're going to have to go through the government's process. That will take time, and it would be even hard to get someone on the phone probably to discuss it. So they're not going to be reaching out to you. And also remember, it's a free program. You shouldn't have to pay to do it. And nothing is going to expedite it or make it even easier. There will be information that needs to be provided, and it will take time.
Mm-hmm. Dovetailing into that, what is your best advice, for the consumer to avoid these things? Because the traps are out there.
They're out there. First of all, know your student loan. Learn your information about what your student loan is, what it covers, what it doesn't cover, what's those payback options. Understand the terms and conditions of that student loan. But also, you're going to need to go to the government website and learn about this waiver, this loan forgiveness that we're seeing. And it may take time even for the government to roll that out. It does take time for their processes, but you're going to need to understand what their requirement is. So the more we know, the more information we have, the less likely we are to be scammed. But always keep up some guard. Remember, this isn't going to be easy. It's not going to be fast. And also, if they start to kind of threaten you, anytime threats are involved, or they appeal to, this is a one-time deal, it'll go away, those are red flags that this is probably not legitimate.
Roseanne Freitas with the Better Business Bureau, thank you very much.
New today, we have an update regarding that OnlyFans star accused of murder. Authorities confirmed that Courtney Clenney has been transferred out of the Hawaii Community Correctional Facility. We're told federal authorities took custody of her. She was scheduled to be extradited to Florida. She was arrested on Hawaii Island on August 10th. Clenney is accused of killing her boyfriend in Miami. 8 years after a Maui mother of 3 disappeared, her ex-boyfriend has been found guilty of her murder.
To the charge of murder in the second degree, we, the jury, in the above entitled matter, find the following. Murder in the second degree, guilty as charged.
Now that's Bernard Brown there with his attorney. The daughter of the victim, Morera Mo Monsalve, was overcome with emotion as the judge announced the jury had found Brown guilty of murdering her mother. Monsalve was last seen at Brown's Wailuku apartment in 2014. Her body was never found.
Sad and happy at the same time, it's sad that this is even happening. that I had to have a murder trial for my mother, but extremely happy that he was found guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. And hopefully maybe one day he'll have a change of heart and tell us what he did to her.
Brown has been in custody since 2019. He's scheduled for sentencing in November and faces life in prison. Park officials in Jackson Township, New Jersey, say several people were taken to the hospital after a roller coaster incident at a Six Flags Great Adventure theme park. Officials say one person suffered a neck injury, 2 had back injuries, and 2 others were treated for what's called mouth and tongue injuries after riding the El Toro roller coaster yesterday evening. Six Flags officials said witnesses heard a loud bang and saw jolting from the coaster. Park officials say the ride is now closed for inspection.
Well, if you're in the market for school supplies or a new TV for football season, now may be the perfect window. That's because retailers are reporting a surplus of inventory. Emily Ikeda explains.
From 40 to 60, even 70% off. These are the deals showing up in major retailers like Target, Gap, and Macy's.
The prices here are good, very good.
No, they're not good, they're great.
The price drops at popular stores are offering shoppers welcomed relief.
Oh, my fashion's been like fire on sale. I'm a sale rack girly.
So what's behind the discounts saving you dollars? A mountain of unsold product. Kohl's, Nordstrom, and Urban Outfitters all reporting inventory increases in the double digits from last year.
Retailers were buying in the teeth of a pandemic without really understanding how consumers were going to behave coming out of the pandemic. And therefore, they were stocking up on items that aren't necessarily what consumers are buying now.
American spending habits are changing in the face of inflation and a return to the workplace. The National Retail Federation says sales this year are only on track to grow by 7%. That's half of what was seen in 2021. This week, Gap, which actually saw a decline in sales from last year, said it's working to rebalance our assortments to better meet changing consumer needs, joining a growing list of companies aggressively trying to clear shelves for next season's bestsellers.
They have excess supply at a time where demand for the items that they're sitting on is down. And that means they have to lower prices to entice consumers to buy.
If you want to boost your savings bonanza, consider signing up for discount programs or cards that offer cash back.
Amazon, Walmart, and Target all have store cards that offer 5% cash back.
Utilize browser extensions like Rakuten and Honey that automatically look for coupons as you're shopping, and stock up on pajamas, activewear, and home appliances, items with steep drop-offs in demand as Americans now spend less time at home.
If there are items on your list that you've been meaning to buy for a while, but you've been waiting for prices to come down, this could be your chance.
All right. Time to do some pajama shopping, it sounds like.
No, I'm thinking about TVs, man. With football season getting going.
Get your big screen. Get a new big screen. All right, we got a live picture coming into the H&N Digital Center. That's the White House there. Obviously, a lot of news has been developing out of D.C. today, but just taking a look outside, it's looking pretty gorgeous. And if you notice, that day's getting a little shorter there on the East Coast as we move into fall. Let's see what our weekend's going to be like as we move into it here on the islands. Here's Billy V in for Guy Hoggy.
Hey, let's go ahead and take a look at your 7-day forecast here at 8:23. We're starting with today. So we had no trade winds yesterday. It was hot and humid. We're starting to get the trade winds back today. National Weather Service says that it will be an enhanced moisture along the windward sides of the Hawaiian Islands today. So we'll get that today. And then coming up Sunday, Monday, we're expecting a drying period where we're going to have more of a stable weather pattern. But National Weather Services, it also could be possible that they would put up a red flag warning. They're watching the humidity, which is expected to drop. If the winds come up, even though they're only forecast to be easterly to 15 miles per hour, it could be a possibility coming up on Monday. Tuesday, Wednesday, light winds. Thursday, Friday, they start to build back up again. So a week of 7 days of varying weather, but it's still going to be nicer than a lot of places elsewhere.
Heads up, everyone. Expect heavy traffic tomorrow in Manoa as the Rainbow Warriors kick off their season against Vanderbilt. The game is at Clarence T.C. Ching Athletics Complex. Kickoff is at 4:30, but the parking gates open at 12:30. Lower campus parking has to be purchased in advance, and remember not to block driveways if you park in the neighborhood. UH staff and special duty officers will be around campus directing traffic. You can head to our website, hawaiinewsnow.com, for important parking information. Well, extreme weather events around the world are fueling discussions about climate change, and renowned scientist Bill Nye is taking a closer look. The Science Guy is debuting a new docu-series on Peacock called The End is Nigh. In it, he dramatizes several catastrophic end-of-the-world scenarios and offers ways to avoid the disasters.
Oh, the mission is to, dare I say it, change the world. No, the mission is to get viewers so excited about our understanding of these potential problems that we do something about them before they become problems.
The End is Nigh is now streaming on Peacock.
Well, this month marks 25 years since the passing of Princess Diana. Now her son, Prince Harry, is making sure some of her charitable work lives on. Manuel Bojorquez has the story.
Prince Harry arrived at this year's charity polo match near Aspen, an event that's part glitz, part grit, all in the name of an organization he co-founded 16 years ago, inspired by his mother, Princess Diana. Sentebale was the name of her favorite flower and translates into forget-me-not. The phrase, says the Sentebale organization, reflects its efforts to bring awareness and support to children and young people in southern Africa affected by extreme poverty, inequality, and HIV/AIDS, causes that were near and dear to his mother. It's the kind of work Prince Harry has previously highlighted.
Sentebale means forget-me-not, also for the simple case of, not forgetting the children, and also, not forgetting our mothers, who both Princesa and I lost at a fairly young age.
Longtime friend and Argentinian polo player Nacho Figueras spoke to us after the match.
Tell me how important this event is for you, but also for Harry with the connection to his mother.
So I've been involved with this charity for a very long time. The reason is because Harry is very committed to it. It's something that's close to his heart. The fact that it is so close to his heart makes me want to add my grain of sand.
It's been nearly 25 years since the prince lost his mother and very publicly had to say goodbye, as a stunned world also mourned the loss. Since then, Prince Harry has visited some of the same places his mother did to continue to raise awareness.
How have you seen him grow and evolve into the person he is today?
He's one of my dearest friends. I love that he created a family that was always his dream, to marry someone that he loves and having children. So I'm very happy to see him at that stage of his life.
Prince Harry did not make any public comments at the match, but in the event program, there was a statement signed by the prince and the co-founder of the organization in which they say that as we approach the anniversary of his mother's death, they, quote, remember her tireless work to support and destigmatize those experiencing HIV/AIDS, and, quote, we remember her spirit and her legacy. Manuel Bojorquez, CBS News, Carbondale, Colorado.
And as we take a look at what else the internet is talking about today, I should mention there's a couple of documentaries out there in regards to the passing of Princess Diana. There's one on Discovery Plus as well as HBO called The Princess. It really compiles a lot of archival footage. You should check them out. Also, front cover of People magazine this week as well.
A lot of great content for the weekend.
Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm. And this too, speaking of content, and speaking of another Brit, Britney's back. Britney Spears, she just released a single with Elton John. Who else but Elton John? That's awesome. It's called Hold Me Closer. It's her first song in 6 years. That's pretty incredible. The track is reimagining, of course, John's classic 1971 hit Tiny Dancer, which is a fabulous song that many people have redone, so I'm really curious to see what her version is all about. So this is sort of Spears' first effort at releasing new music since she was, quote, freed from her 13-year conservatorship that controlled her career and personal life for many, many years. Yeah, it's an interesting collab.
And is it safe to say, too, that this is like her second career resurgence? Because
she had the whole shaved head thing, and then she went to Vegas, then sort of a comeback then, and then sort of fell back again. And now, I'd call it a second comeback. Mm-hmm. She's had quite the roller coaster of a career and just fascinating life as well. Mm-hmm. Speaking of documentaries, there's some really interesting ones about her out there too on those streaming platforms.
As she begins the next phase of her career. Now, how about this? We love talking about space on This Is Now. We have a new space development right here. NASA is ready for its next out-of-this-world mission. Artemis 1 takes off Monday morning, the unmanned rocket carrying the Orion spacecraft, which is slated to travel past the moon before returning to Earth. Now, looking into this, this rocket is going to be going farther than any other rocket that carried humans previously before. So really just some remarkable technology here. And then Artemis returns to Earth on October 10th. So
super fascinating. I cannot wait for the live coverage of that. That's coming up just in Monday, you said, right? So we're just days away from that. People are really excited to return to the moon. And sort of a space race with China, too. They've recently had missions to the moon as well. So we're seeing how that's developing internationally with those sort of both countries vying
talk about a
for
resurgence, right?
Yeah, blast from the 1960s, right? All right, we need to talk about another resurgence, if you could say. We're talking about our food drive here at H&N. We're going to be in person this year at a number of spots around town tomorrow. Casey Lund standing by with those details in your Good News Now.
Aloha from the Hawaii Food Bank. A lot happening here today and a lot happening tomorrow. Hawaii News Now, of course, a proud partner of the food drive happening tomorrow morning, Saturday, across Oahu. I want to bring on Amy Marvin, President and CEO of Hawaii Food Bank. First of all, Amy, tell us what's happening here, just in general, on a busy day here at the Hawaii Food Bank.
Sure. Aloha. So nice to see you. Thank you guys so much for being here. This is a typical day at Hawaii Food Bank. Our trucks go out in the morning, gather food from donation sources, from retailers, from wholesalers. They bring it back here. We sort it. We have our partner agencies are coming to pick up food so they can take it out for distribution. So always a lot going on.
Amy, we interviewed some of those folks this morning on Sunrise in the echoing sentiment that all of them had this morning was how important the donations are, especially as we come out of this pandemic. Talk to us a little bit about your pitch, I guess, to folks that maybe have a little extra, either can donate food items or a monetary donation. What can you say to those folks?
Sure. So, for those of us out there that, aren't having quite as much trouble, I think all of us are feeling the pinch, the sting of inflation, right? You're going to the store and you see, wow, my grocery bill is higher. Food prices are 10% higher now than they were just a year ago. So for people that are living, having a hard time making ends meet, that increase makes a big difference. And people might need to make the choice between putting food on the table or putting gas in their car to go to work. So I would say, to folks out there, hey, this is a time to reach out and give to your neighbors. So if you can give, you can donate food, you can volunteer, or you can donate dollars.
And I want to talk about that actually specifically, because if you can't make it out, if you can't donate a non-perishable food item, of course, by the way, canned proteins, always needed. But if you can't do that, the dollar goes really far with the Hawaii Food Bank.
Absolutely. We can really stretch a dollar at Hawaii Food Bank. So every dollar that is donated to the food bank, we are able to purchase and supply food for more than 2 meals. So, $10, that's more than 20 meals that will help families that are struggling.
Amy Marvin, thank you so much. President and CEO of Hawaii Food Bank. We will be out and about at the H&N crew. You can come out Saturday. We'll be all over Oahu. And if you can't make it out, you can always text food to 80888. You can go to hawaiifoodbank.org to make a donation online as well. For now, we'll send things back to you.
Thank you very much, Casey Lund. That's going to do it for This Is Now. Have a good weekend.